Hello, class. This week we are studying ethical violations and board discipline. For the state of North Carolina, I found 109 entries listed on their board website dating back to 2005 all the way to current day. Um, the top three subjects on their website for board disciplines were 29 accounts were revoked or ended in revocation of LPC license. 26 were condition met disciplines, and 18 were due to probation. So those were the top three. It would surprise me, kind of. The top reason being for revocation was that it was inappropriate relationships with clients in one way or another, to where either from sexual in nature to just inappropriate business relationships where people would do services for the counselor rather than pay. There was a few that stuck out also. Ones where people would be be found guilty of healthcare fraud and actually went to prison for it. Another one that stuck out to me was impaired while driving and assault. So, my personal reaction to some of these were kind of breathtaking a little bit. One, I know that LPC, this is obviously a pretty extensive course, and people put a lot of their effort and heart into wanting to help other people. But it's hard when you're doing that and then you fall into a trap, or you fall into an action where you don't make the most ethical choice that supports your decision and your character. Um, so I took out of this, the third question was choose one of the most recent cases and the behavior that led to the discipline in the action. And so a recent case in 2020 of October, there was a high intensity divorce case where two children were involved that were under the age of 10, um, and they were referred to counseling through this divorce proceeding by a domestic abuse service counselor. Um, so the two parents shared joint custody, which is important to know, and the mother is the one who started the counseling without the father's consent. And so it wasn't until the father was made aware of the children seeing the counselor that the father hired an attorney and subpoenaed the health records uh, and asked for the counseling sessions to stop. The mother of the case, who initially brought the children to counseling um, based upon the recommendation of the domestic abuse services, um, she continued the counseling and pleaded with the counselor to see them one last time for an emergency situation. Um, the counselor then agreed to see the two children on this emergency basis, and was found to have broken the ACA Code of Ethics and the North Carolina State General Statute. Um, so the codes that were broken in the ACA here were Charlie 2 Alpha, Boundaries and Competence, which dealt with the counselor's individual education level. Not that she wasn't qualified to see the children, but she wasn't. She misused her education to see the children. Um, Charlie 2 Echo, consultations and ethical obligations. Charlie 6 Bravo, reports to third parties. And India 1 Alpha, knowledge, which isn't an excuse to not know the ACA code. The NC General Statute says that you have been guilty of immoral, dishonorable, unprofessional, or unethical conduct as defined by the ACA code here. And the outcome of this case was decided by the board to reprimand the counselor in this recommendation to reprimand, she had to complete 12 hours of additional education at her expense, where 6 hours were in documentation and 6 hours were in legal response. I personally feel like the board probably made the right decision here. Being the counselor on the other end of it, it asked me as a inspiring counselor the question: as a licensed counselor, how in this situation do you decide between ethical code and individual morals? So the counselor obviously knew the children's situation. She probably felt like the children would have benefited from emergency therapy service, even if the father wasn't consenting. So it would either be like the children's mental health and stability and possibly safety, or just trying to roll the dice on it and hoping that something doesn't happen just because the father hasn't consented yet. So it's really one of those catch-22s in this counselor's opinion, and she obviously chose her moral code to her individual self and not the ethical code, and had to be reprimanded for it. So I asked you guys the same question. How do you deal with that while you're in the situation? Thanks for listening. Hope you all have a safe week, and I'll see your post here soon.